In ancient times, in the vast land of Persia, there lived a peerless hero named Rostam. He was a champion whose name made enemies tremble, and his horse, Raksh, galloped like the wind on the fields of battle. One day, Rostam went hunting near the borders of Turan, the land of Persia's enemies. After a great hunt, he fell into a deep sleep. But when he awoke, he could not find Raksh by his side. Turanian riders had stolen his famed horse. Enraged and worried, Rostam followed his horse's tracks and arrived at a border city called Samangan. The king of Samangan, who had heard of Rostam's legendary heroism, welcomed him with great respect and promised to help him find Raksh. At night, as Rostam rested in his chambers, his door opened quietly. Tamine, the beautiful daughter of the king of Samangan, had bravely come to see him. "I have heard the tales of your valor," she said, "and my heart is captured by my love for you. If you take me as your wife, I promise I will find Raksh for you." Rostam, who was captivated by Tamine's beauty and courage, accepted. That very night, they secretly sealed their marriage vows. The next day, Raksh was found, and Rostam had no choice but to return to Persia. As he said farewell, he took a precious amulet from his armband and gave it to Tamine, saying, "Keep this as a memento. If our child is a girl, tie it to her hair. If it is a boy, fasten it to his arm, so that it may be a sign of his father." Rostam left, and 9 months later, Tamine gave birth to a son who was like a piece of the sun in his beauty and strength. She named him Sohrab, fearing that Afrasiab, the vengeful king of Turan, would learn of the existence of Rostam's son and harm him. Tamine concealed his father's identity from everyone. Sohrab grew older and stronger. By the age of 10, he was a champion whom no one could dare face. Tired of the taunts from his peers about not having a father, he went to his mother one day and insisted on knowing the truth. Tamine finally revealed the secret, showing him Rostam's letter and the precious amulet. A fire of love and pride ignited in Sohrab's heart. He decided to lead an army into Persia, dethrone Kavus, the Shah of Iran, and place his father, Rostam, on the throne, while he himself would rule Turan by his side. When Afrasiab, the king of Turan, learned of this plan, he cunningly provided Sohrab with a great army. However, he secretly commanded his generals not to let Sohrab recognize his father, hoping that the son would kill the father in battle, leaving Persia defenseless. The army of Turan, under Sohrab's command, stormed the borders of Persia and easily conquered the White Fortress, Iran's first line of defense. The news of the emergence of a young, invincible Turanian champion struck terror into the court of Persia. Kavus, the arrogant Shah, saw no other choice but to summon Rostam for help. Rostam, unaware that the Turanian hero was his own flesh and blood, hastened to the battlefield. When the two armies faced each other, Sohrab searched for any sign of his father. Seeing the mighty warrior mounted on Raksh, he guessed it must be Rostam. He rode forward and asked respectfully, "O famed champion, you appear to be Rostam. Tell me your name." But Rostam replied, with pride, "I have never revealed my name on the battlefield. Prepare yourself for combat." The battle began. Father and son, two unyielding mountains, clashed. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the sky darkened with dust. On the first day, neither could defeat the other. Sohrab, feeling a fatherly affection in his heart, tried again to learn Rostam's identity, but Rostam's pride and suspicion prevented it. On the third day, the battle reached its peak. In one moment, Sohrab, with incredible power, threw Rostam to the ground and drew his dagger to finish him. Rostam, seeing himself on the verge of defeat, used a trick. "In our tradition," he said, "it is not customary to kill a champion the first time he is unhorsed." Sohrab, being honorable, spared him. But fate continued its cruel game. In the renewed struggle, this time Rostam, with all his might and fury, threw Sohrab to the ground and, without hesitation, plunged his dagger into his side. As Sohrab took his last breaths, he moaned with a weak voice, "It is a pity that I was killed by an unknown warrior, but know this, my father, Rostam, will avenge my blood." Upon hearing the name Rostam, the world collapsed upon the great hero. In disbelief, he asked, "What sign of Rostam do you possess?" Sohrab opened his armband. Rostam's eyes fell upon the very amulet he had given Tahmin. A cry tore from the depths of Rostam's soul, shaking the entire plain. He threw dust on his head and rent his clothes. He had killed his son, his own flesh and blood, with his own hands. In his final moments, Sohrab died in his father's arms, leaving Rostam with a lifetime of regret and a sorrow that would torment his soul until the end of his days. And this was the most tragic tale of the Shahnameh, the story of a father who did not know his son, and a destiny that wrote a tragedy for Persia's greatest hero.